Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I wanted to give you a little reminder before we get going here right out of the gate. This is a reminder from Crypto Bull. Here we go.
Of the SEC, okay? SEC says, no, we're not giving you these. This is ridiculous. It's not Ripple's concern whether or not we traded XRP or what crypto assets we traded. However, the judge said it is relevant. It may not be relevant for them to see, but I need to see it and determine if it's relevant or not. So they're going to have to hand this stuff over, it looks like. And once this happens, this is the bombshell that will end the case. When they find out that the commissioners of the SEC or employees of the SEC have been trading XRP during this time, everything will go out the window. Because then, you know what it does? Then it puts them at risk. And they're not going to be willing to do that. That's why this case, hear me now, this case is already over. The commissioners up.
We still don't know who was buying and selling digital assets out of the SEC before and after the Hinman speech. Then yesterday, remember, SEC, I don't know if it was a threat to sue Coinbase. I think it was a threat to sue Coinbase. And a lot of people think that Coinbase was just tweeting that out to help send the message by the SEC, which I find interesting too. But watch this. So Brad Garlinghouse says the SEC's continued warfare on crypto continues to play out. In December 2020, I said that we'd been having discussions with the SEC for nearly 3 years about XRP and yet never been met with clarity. Sound familiar? And then he goes on. Thankfully today, many recognize the havoc caused by regulation by enforcement. We're ready to work with responsible actors, pro-innovation members of Congress, and others in paving a path to clarity and certainty with U.S. regulators. Then Stuart Alderati, who's the general counsel for Ripple, tweeted this. He retweeted Brad Garlinghouse. He says, "We are told to engage with the SEC in good faith. And what do we get? Enforcement actions or threats of them with no clarity. Their preferred method of strong-arm intimidation and inconsistently applying unclear rules hurts consumers and markets in the end. Some UK, Singapore, Japan, etc. have clear frameworks for innovation to flourish with consumer and market protection, others with sandboxes for safe collaboration between innovators and regulators. How did the US end up with secret regulatory inquisitions?" I mean, excellent point. But guess what, Stuart? Remember how I'll never forget how Robert Jackson, the SEC commissioner, who was probably had 20 or 30 years less experience than Stuart Alderati, I'll never forget when he goes, "Hey, listen, Stu, man," like Stu is beneath him or something. I'll never forget the way that he spoke to him. Well, Stuart, I'm not talking down to you because I'm just a YouTuber, so. But I am going to call you Stuart. Stuart, there is one man who does not have to go through all of this, and I'm going to show you that man. I'm sure you're aware of him by now, but there's one man who not only does not have to go through all of this trying to engage with good faith and get no clarity and all that and then get threatened. There's one man who I'm aware of, that does not have to deal with any of this. In fact, I think that it's even better than that. He's brought in like he's part of the family. We will show you more of that man here shortly. I wanted to show this. Dark Defender, he said, "Hi there, today we have a 2-cup coffees. XRP is targeting $6.39, which I would gladly take. $6.39, and my kids get the first dog they've ever had in their life. I promised them a dog named Ripple at $5. So let's hope that Dark Defender is right for the sake of my children. In fact, one of my children is old enough he doesn't even care about the dog anymore. So we need this $5 price. Okay, James Phelan. This is getting really bad now for the SEC. I think that Coinbase, even if Coinbase was in on it with them, it was a bad move because now they got all of crypto all over them. Okay, Now you've got people that are writing letters, open letter to the Judge Torres and Netburn. And this is just an average guy. Let's see what his name is. Brian Chieta. I'm not going to go through the letter, but it's a whole letter about how this is just a hardworking guy who bought XRP in good faith because he was left with the impression for 8 freaking years that there was no problem by the SEC that didn't do their job. Look, here's a question. What if in 2018, instead of calling Ethereum, instead of Hinman coming out and saying Ethereum was a non-security, which was complete bull, and we all know it, what if they had come out after 4 years since Ethereum's since their ICO and said, well, it's a security? Well, there's people that bought it for 4 years because the SEC did not do their freaking job, who were not protected as investors for that 4 years. And in XRP's case, for 8 years, were not protected. Okay? So you see the problem? So what we need is more open letters to the judge, because this is a farce and everybody knows it. Everybody except the one man who is on Team SEC. Okay? Let me write that down because that's a thumbnail. Team SEC, and we'll show you him in a second. We've shown you plenty of him, but we're going to show you more. See, here's the problem they got now. Now they got Bitcoin maxis like Ryan Selkis jumping in. Now, instead of just dealing with the people that love XRP, now they're about to deal with all of crypto, except for Ethereum and the one man who is on Team SEC. Okay? There's no way to say this. The chairman of the SEC is simply lying to the people. Talk to us, come in, engage, ask permission. Then a platform like Coinbase does just what that they get a Wells notice versus guidance. Why should anyone trust the SEC or its leadership? Okay, and he's showing this thing where Gary Gensler's like, talk to us, come in. Okay, this was Gary Gensler in the Financial Times. Talk to us, come in, he said. There are a lot of platforms that are in operation today that would do better engaging, and instead there's a bit of begging for forgiveness rather than asking permission. Well, Coinbase, in the tweet by Brian Armstrong, literally tried to go to them to ask permission, and Gary Gensler's SEC would not even meet with him. That's what the tweet said. This is what you're dealing with, and this is why you out there, Congress, have got to do your job, because the SEC is not doing theirs. You've got to provide oversight and ask this guy what in the hell he is doing to this country and to innovation in this country. It's time. All right. Then we got this. Now, this is Caitlin Long, who's also a Bitcoin maxi, and she can't figure it out either. Listen to this clip. I love watching these Bitcoin. Brad Garlinghouse tried to tell them this is not just about Ripple. They're coming for all of you next. Listen to what she says. Nobody can figure it out.
Well, Coinbase has the opportunity to avoid a lawsuit. So unlike others that probably do have a lawsuit coming from the SEC, this is how the SEC regulates. They will pick an example and try to move the whole market by picking an example. What's interesting and frustrating to us in the industry is that the industry has collectively been asking the SEC for clarity on some of these very issues for years. In some cases, more than 5 years, which is typically the statute of limitations for bringing a securities enforcement action. And now, just now, we're seeing this. Why are we seeing this? I guess you'd say better late than never. But boy, a lot of time passed, and a lot of companies that probably were issuing unregistered securities were able to make a lot of profits and build up big war chests to fight the SEC. It's such an interesting turn of events.
It's an interesting turn of events, and it raises a lot of questions to your point about what exactly they might want to really laser in on here, because it sounded like even in the tweet storm from Brian Armstrong, I mean, there are other companies that offer interest on crypto assets, and they said that there was some confusion around what was a security, and the SEC didn't want to tell them what a security, which piece of this was the problem. But I mean, to your point, you've heard Gary Gensler kind of punt on the idea of what is and what isn't. thinking that we're all on the same page. Clearly not. But if that's the problem, that raises some bigger questions about all those other kind of altcoins out there. And I'd be curious to see, I guess, your reaction to maybe that being the issue here, if that's really what they're deeming to be the security issue around Coinbase's lend.
Well, it sure does raise the issue. And some of us have thought that some of these lending products have been unregistered securities all along and have been surprised that the SEC hasn't taken action previously. The challenge is, though, that the SEC does take its time. In the Ripple lawsuit, the SEC got several tolling agreements to what's called toll the statute of limitations, which is an agreement with the party that they might sue that the statute of limitations doesn't apply. And then literally, I believe it was 8 years after the initial offering of XRP was when the SEC finally sued. And that's not really fair to those who are involved. A lot of folks look at the fact that activities have taken place and presume that the SEC is okay with it. And this is definitely an issue for the SEC and the industry as a whole. Why does it take so long to bring enforcement actions? And I was on Twitter having a conversation with a Cornell law professor today about the question of why the SEC didn't raise this issue before Coinbase's IPO last fall. There were certainly a lot of disclosures about the potential that the SEC could consider some of the crypto assets that trade on Coinbase to be unregistered securities. But you would have thought before a big public IPO goes forward, from an investor protection perspective, which is exactly what the SEC's mandate is, that it would have been better to deal with these issues last fall rather than let the IPO go forward and then raise the issue and have the stock price get hit.
Wow. Now you think about that for a minute. This is all we ever hear. Gary Gensler, all I care about is investor protection. Yeah, right. Well, you didn't care. How about those Coinbase? How about those people that bought, those investors that bought, after you approved the IPO? How about those investors that invested in Coinbase stock, which I didn't look, but I'm assuming after Brian Armstrong's tweet that the SEC's coming after them, how come in the IPO you didn't handle this lending issue or whatever you had a problem with? Because now the investors you keep claiming you protect, now if they had bought that Coinbase stock, if the stock was hit as a result of your action, because you didn't do anything about it in the IPO, this thing goes round and round, folks. There's nothing good going on in this, and everybody knows it. It was just the people that are in XRP land and like Ripple and all this, but now it's everybody. Now everybody can see with clear eyes. But you know what I call this video, folks? I'm going to call it, I remember reading the book A Tale of Two Cities when I was a kid. This is a tale of two SECs. There's one SEC that is the reality for all of crypto. It's the reality for Caitlin Long. It's the reality for Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, Stuart Alderati. It's the reality for all these cryptos exchanges. But then there's another SEC. The other SEC is the one that deals with Ethereum and Joseph Lubin. There's two SECs. The SEC that deals with Ethereum, Ethereum and Joseph Lubin, is a totally different experience. So for the rest of the video, I'm going to show you the Joseph Lubin experience, okay? And this is just using his own words. I'm going to show you what I've seen. Now, I've now watched probably 50. And I did not set out to focus on him. It wasn't about that. I'm trying to focus on the truth and where their own words led me. So I've watched 50 to 100 videos of him after the Bill Hinman speech, before and after, really. Words mean things. I've learned that, folks, in my life. Here are a few that he used over and over in describing Hinman's speech, okay? This is after the speech. I've seen it over and over and over. He's used these words. Network business model, crypto fuel, not selling large quantities to speculators, consumer token. He used those words so many times over and over. Well, what you're looking at here is an article from May 25th of 2018. This is a month before, an article about Joseph Lubin. This is a month before the Hinman speech. And he's using the exact same words. And when I'm showing you this, I want to ask again, who helped Hinman write the speech, because this guy's using the same words before the Hinman speech as he was using when he's talking about how great the Hinman speech was. He's using the same phrases, same words, and that, to me, means things. Let's see if this is the one. Let's see, story, it's down here. We're focused on, remember, this is before the Hinman speech. We're focused on getting very clear definitions and helping regulators around the world understand that there are a lot of those network business models that benefit from membership tokens or tokens that represent consumption of scarce resources. And as long as these projects are selling tokens to token buyers that make use of the token and they're not selling in large quantities to speculators or hoping to make money by the actions of others, that is a good, clean definition of consumer token, said Lubin, who added that that is absolutely what Ether is and described it as crypto fuel. Same words, same phrases are being used before and after the Hinman speech, in reference to the Hinman speech afterwards. So I'll ask again, who helped Hinman write the speech? Who was in the 63 emails? And where is Bill Hinman's public calendar? Okay. Now, this right here is from, I wrote in this that it was, let's see, this one. Oh, first you got to see this. Listen to this. As I said earlier, a tale of two SECs. Listen to what he says. This is a month before the Hinman speech.
We certainly need bodies like the SEC to scare many projects straight, to create a context of concern so that many different projects think twice and do their legal homework before releasing a token.
We need bodies like the SEC to scare many projects straight. This is Joseph Lubin's SEC. This is Ethereum's SEC. Here's a longer clip. This is, I said June 8th because that's when the YouTube video went up, so I thought it was June 8th. It was actually in May of 2018, 1 month before the Ethereum free pass speech by Bill Hinman.
We have many different projects that are consumer utility tokens and would not be considered securities, even in this context. At this point in time, there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt that has been raised by regulators around the world. The SEC has made certain pronouncements about consumer tokens or utility tokens. Early statements were to the effect that all these tokens are probably securities. So the SEC has this dilemma. Other regulators around the world have a dilemma. The problem is that there are a lot of great projects, and there are a lot of bad projects, a lot of fraudulent projects, a lot of projects that are selling what could and should be good, well-constructed consumer utility tokens, but they're selling them to investors in enormous quantities and quantities far greater than they could actually use. So they're really selling them as an investment. And so the SEC's opinion, from what we've discerned, is that those things constitute.
Right now, he's telling you what the SEC's opinion is, from what he's been able to discern, I think he said.
So we have a framework that enables us to sell consumer utility tokens, not in enormous quantities, not with discounts for large investors, not to investors. You essentially have to be a technically accredited token buyer.
All right. Now, he said that not to, he keeps saying this right here. And this is one I know for a fact. I've picked this, remember, this is before the Hinman speech. And this is, he keeps saying over and over, consumer utility, not in enormous quantities, not with discounts for large, what do they call it? Large investors. That's something that he was saying, that exact phrase almost. He used that in talk after talk in reference to the Hinman speech. In other words, the guy, they had to have already known. They had to have already known the exact framework before the Hinman speech. That's my whole point here, folks. These words are being used. There's almost no way that they could. The freaking, his description of the framework based on the Bill Hinman speech is almost identical to what he was talking about before the speech, folks. Almost identical.
Investors, you essentially have to be.
And listen, a lot of you, I know that a lot of people are wondering, why do I keep showing these comments by Joseph Lubin about what he thinks about the Hinman speech or what he thinks about the SEC? It's because when you put them all together and you see them all, it all comes together like a puzzle. And that's why it's important to see them all. Because when you see this, you see this, you see this, and all of a sudden, it's like a big putt. My 9-year-old, he does not much anymore, but he used to love puzzles. And there's nothing like the feeling of accomplishment when you finally have that puzzle together and you step back and you can look at the whole thing. Well, I feel like I can look at the whole thing now. Because trust me, I've been through hundreds of hours of listening to this guy talk through his teeth. Trust me.
Technically accredited token buyer. You have to answer questions. You have to demonstrate that you will use these tokens on these platforms. And so that's a good, clean way to sell a token that represents some sort of access or consumption of a resource on these new business models, these network business model platforms.
All right. So then, you know what I'm going to do? Because I've got so much, I think I'm going to cut off here and let you watch the rest of this because, well, maybe I should. I'm at 21 minutes. I'm going to play this one in the next video, but this one's unbelievable too, and I actually sent this to forwarded Stuart Alderoti's tweet and made a funny point here. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that this is a tale of two SECs. This is the SEC / Ethereum versus Ripple / XRP / the entire crypto industry. That's what this is. Thanks for listening.